Let's talk about that re-election. Let's talk about the horse race. First, starting out with Trump versus Biden, both parties' presumptive nominees. Last time you and I spoke, Trump was beating Biden in a head-to-head matchup. What's it looking like now?
So when you account for leaners, they are essentially tied right now. And again, part of the positive news for President Biden's reelection effort is that he's now winning independent leaners or independents who are on the fence, and they're now starting to break for him. And as I mentioned, he's also winning 3 out of 4 undecideds. When you remove leaners or undecideds, essentially Trump is still up by about 3 points, which is within the margin of error of our poll. And about 11% of the electorate is really on the fence, and they still haven't made up their mind. But this is a big improvement from our last poll as well, where essentially Trump was up by 2 to 3 points. And that was only a few weeks ago. So everything that we're seeing suggests that President Biden is starting to move the dial. I personally attribute this to him being up on air with this $30 million spend, which is a huge spend out of the gate. And it seems to be working, and it seems to be moving some of those voters who are on the fence or yet to make up their mind on his camp. Now, is this a sustained pickup or not? That's yet to be seen, right? It could just be the effect of that campaign being up on air and steadily hitting voters on the fence.
When you add the leaners into the mix, things are looking better for President Biden. But how much can a candidate statistically and historically count on leaners to show up on election day?
Well, leaners matter, I would say, at the extremes, right? If it's a high turnout election, then those who are on the fence, understanding how they will break, usually in the last month or two before the election, that's very important because that tends to make a big difference. In this election, we're still seeing a majority of voters, close to two-thirds of voters, saying that they don't want a rematch of 2020. So it's much more likely to be a low turnout election, a race to the bottom, as it's been described by some commentators looking at what they're seeing. And in that case, those who are undecided, even though they're not that many, because most undecideds will just sit it out, still end up making the difference. Everything that we're seeing and we have consistently been seeing for over years suggests that in a head-to-head matchup between Biden and Trump, the election is going to come down to a few thousand votes, or it's going to be a razor-thin election overall. So the undecideds, they matter a lot, and it's important to track them very closely.